Welcome back to Shire Travels. This is part 2 of our Fiji videos. In this one, we're going to be talking all about the Yasawa Islands. The easiest way to get up to the Yasawa Islands is using the Yasawa Flyer. This is the big yellow boat which is operated by Awesome Adventures Fiji. They have a really easy to navigate website. You can find which resorts they go to, how long it takes to get there, and the cost. I would definitely recommend booking it online before you get there. The other thing you can do is book an island hopping package. Now you have the option of Awesome Adventures Fiji choosing which resorts you go to, which is what Tom and I did on our first trip there, or you can now actually pick and choose which resorts you want to stay at. They have heaps of different packages from 2 days right up to a week plus. It's really up to you how long you want to spend in paradise. The boat itself, it's big, it's yellow, you can see it coming from a mile away when you're on the islands. At Port Denarau, it is very easy to navigate and get onto the boat. You check in and you give them your bags and they will tag your bags to each resort that you're going to. Now I actually found the tags that were on my bags, which is really useful because there are a couple of resorts that I couldn't remember the name of. So I've got one for South Sea Island, Manta, Nabua Lodge, and Denarau. But a nice little souvenir to keep as well. And once your bags are tagged, they bring them onto the boat for you. You could hop on board and away you go. Now the Yasawa Islands are much further away than the Mamanuca. The first island that I think they stop at is Vomo, which is actually just outside of the Yasawa Island kind of chain. About an hour and a half to get to Vomo. If you're heading up to one of the resorts near the very top, say Nabua Lodge for example, you're looking at 4.5 hours, maybe even 5 hours. Now that's a long time to spend on the boat. Now fortunately, they do have an area you can sit inside. They also sell food and drinks. You get yourself a can of Fiji bitter. You can also get ice creams, those sorts of things. Now, if you are going up to one of the resorts, which is quite far away, so you're going to be on the boat for 5 hours, there's also the option to upgrade to the Captain's Lounge. This is a small air-conditioned cabin at the very top of the boat. It sits a maximum of 30 people. The price includes complimentary drink, beer, wine, that sort of thing. It also has snacks as well. And I think they also provide some commentary from the captain and the crew as you go along. So definitely an option if you are going to be on the boat for a long time. Now, the boat isn't that cheap. It's quite expensive. One thing I did notice when I was looking the other day just to do a bit of research is the more expensive resort you go to, the more money you are paying, even if that resort is closer to the mainland, which I thought was very interesting. While it isn't super cheap, it is much cheaper than if you were to fly by seaplane or helicopter or maybe hire your own water taxi. Now I'm going to talk you through the places that I have stayed at in the Yasawas. The first place is Wayalailai Eco Resort. Now I don't actually have any footage of this resort. I think of all the places that I stayed, this was definitely the most basic. It's more of a village stay, so you are there amongst the people living in the village. The accommodation is small huts. You might be in, say, groups of 2 or 4 in the huts and just single beds or bunk beds. I remember the facilities there being very basic. So in terms of shower block was kind of just a few outdoor showers under a roof. The shower itself was just a hose pipe. Apart from that, it is actually a very nice place to stay. If you are looking to get an authentic Fijian experience, someone like this is definitely the place to go. Absolutely no frills. You get to see what it is like living in a real village on the island. No frills. This is a very basic backpacker style resort, so bear that in mind. The next resort is Korovou. Not to be confused with Coral View, which can be a little bit confusing. If you are on the boat and you hear over the speaker they're stopping at Korovou or Coral View, just go down and double check which resort it is because they do sound very similar. Now Korovou, again a backpacker budget resort, it had dorm accommodation, but it was really good. They also had a swimming pool there, but from memory it wasn't the most appealing pool to go in. I think it needed a little bit of maintenance. But outside of that though, the resort was really nice. Again, another budget friendly backpacker type resort. So it had a beautiful big deck that overlooked the ocean, and then in the evening they did games and activities there. This is something which a lot of the backpacker kind of budget accommodations do, is in the evening they try and get everyone involved. Some of the staff did dancing as well. You have a bar there. Really good fun. Definitely a no frills kind of resort, but still really, really good. Next we have Nabua Lodge. This is the furthest away resort that I stayed at. Now on this island there are actually a few different resorts. You've got Blue Lagoon. Nabua Lodge was really nice. So they have really beautiful green tropical garden, and rather than dorm accommodation you just stay in small huts, and if you're traveling by yourself they'll just put you together, usually with people of the same gender. So I stayed in a room with a couple of other girls. Lovely little huts, very, very basic, just single beds. I think they have mosquito nets above them. somewhere to put your bag, and that was pretty much it. They also, like most resorts there, had a communal dining area with long tables, buffet style catering for breakfast, lunch and dinner. They also had a bar there as well, and nice seating areas outside. One thing I really liked about this resort was it was on a huge beach that curved round, and you could actually walk down to some of the other resorts. You're absolutely allowed to do that. They're all quite similar resorts. There's not like a really exclusive high-end resort which you're not allowed to go near. Me and another girl who were there walked to the end of the beach, went to a resort there, had a drink and walked back. The other thing they had on that island as well, which was quite cool, between the few of the resorts that you can walk between, was the Traveller's Tea Room. This just served very basic tea, coffee, homemade cakes. It was really good though, like a nice little treat out on the islands. You are quite often locked into the time you eat and the food you eat, etc. This was a nice little treat, being able to just walk along the beach and stop and get some cake. Now I didn't snorkel there myself, and I think from memory the water was quite shallow and it was a little bit rough. I also don't think that I took my own snorkeling gear with me. I had to pay to hire snorkeling gear just to save money. If it didn't look that good, I didn't pay to go. One thing to note about all the resorts, and I should have mentioned this in the Mamanukas video as well, is that when you look at the accommodation price, you might see that to stay in a dorm for the night is $150. Now, in addition to that, you also have to buy a food package. It sounds a little bit strange. I certainly had not been somewhere like this before, where you go to the island, there's nowhere else to buy food, you can't self-cater, and so you have to pay extra for this food package. I don't quite understand why it isn't just one price. It is a little bit strange, and I have heard people being caught out by this as well. Going to the resort, having all their accommodation booked, and then when they go to leave saying, okay, well you owe us X amount for all your food. Can be a little bit confusing. Be aware of it, don't get caught out. Next we're heading to my favorite resort in the Yasawas, and that is Manta Island Resort. When Tom and I traveled to Fiji the first time, we're actually traveling on separate trips, but when we spoke about it after, some years later, talking about going back to Fiji, if we ever went back, maybe we get married there, we both agreed that we really liked Manta Island. Manta Island offers a whole range of accommodation. It has a really big dorm compared to every other dorm that we saw on our trips, and Tom went to a few different resorts that I did. Manta was by far the best. It was really modern and clean. The bathroom facilities also nice and modern and clean. It also offers some hillside accommodation and also beach birds as well. The second time we went there when we got married, we stayed in a beach bird and it was really good. When you first walk up to it, it's got a day bed outside. It's got a seating area just inside the door, a bedroom, and then out the back there's an outdoor bathroom, which we loved. It was really good. You might be thinking that an outdoor bathroom, were there bugs everywhere, did it rain, etc. We didn't find any issues with it at all. It was so nice in that humid, tropical atmosphere to be outside, showering. The only thing was when it came to getting ready for the wedding, putting on makeup, blow drying and straightening my hair in the humidity. By the end of the day, I was like, why did I even bother? I think as well, Manta Resort, compared to some of the other islands that we stayed at, it was also fairly family friendly as well. So the place we stayed at, is very much geared towards backpackers, whereas Manta, there were people there who had kids with them. Bear in mind, older kids, not little kids. They don't have a kids club or anything like that, but it was definitely somewhere where you could take older kids and there were heaps of activities for them to do. As I said, there are lots of activities on Manta. Now, one of the big ticket items there, as you might have guessed by the name, is that you can go and swim with manta rays. Tom and I have both done this. So what you do is when you get there, you say, yep, I want to go do a manta ray swim. I don't think you pay then, because just in case you don't see the manta rays. What they do is they have people spotting or driving boats around just to see if the manta rays are coming through the channel that's near the resort. That's where they feed. If they see that there's a manta ray there, they will get a big shell and blow on the shell. Imagine like Moana, the movie, when she's on top of the mountain blowing the shell like a horn. It's exactly like that. That signals that there's a manta ray there and it's time to go swimming. So everyone piles into the boat, they get you out there and chuck you into the water to go snorkeling with them. Really, really cool. Now, I am not the most confident or strong swimmer, but even I found it was absolutely fine. They do look after you when you're in the water, help you get in and out of the boat as well. You are just on like a little tinny tender sized boat. The manta rays as well are beautiful, really big. To feed, they barrel roll around and they come right up to the surface next to you. Amazing to see, a really unique experience. I can't quite remember quite how much it was, but it was definitely worth the money. The snorkeling around the resort is pretty good. They have a really nice beach at the very front of the resort. You can hire snorkeling equipment there if you haven't got your own. And there's a lot of coral and fish out there to see. Now, if you're into your diving, you're in luck. Manta is quite renowned for the diving it offers. I'm not a diver, but Tom is. And the last time we were there, he went and did a heap of different dives. He went out to a couple of wrecks. And he also did a night dive, which is just outside the front of the resort, which he said was really good. There's a lot of sea creatures who are very active at night. And he said it was really cool to be in there, just with the torch, shining it around, seeing everything kind of come out and come to life. There are some other paid activities you can do there. You can hire kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, snorkeling gear, but they do offer free activities as well. There's an island hike where a staff member will take you up to the very top of the island. You can see all the way out over the island to the different beaches and other islands around, and I definitely recommend that. They also offer basket weaving, coconut collecting, bracelet making, where you make a bracelet out of a coconut. Another paid activity that we did and we really loved it is sunset tubing. So you get into a little tinny, they have another tinny full of big tires or rubber rings, take you around to the other side of the island, chuck you in your tube, throw you a beer, and you sit there in your tube floating along watching the sunset. It's great fun. It's a really unique way to sit and watch the sunset. The water there is very calm, and they also have kind of a rope with some floats that go out in the water if you want to hold on if you're a little bit worried about floating away. It's really fun, very relaxed. Definitely do it if you're heading to Manta. Another paid activity that you can do there is hand line fishing. You get on a tinny, head out into the ocean, maybe only 10 minutes away, and you have a handrail fishing line that you drop down into the water, onto the reef and see what you can get. I caught a couple of fish, which was great. Nothing worth keeping, we just chucked them back in. Another fairly cheap activity, it might have only cost 10 Fiji dollars. But if you're not into activities and you're just going there to relax, there are plenty of spots to hang out. There's a few different beaches on the island. There are some secret beaches that if you speak to the staff, they can show you where to go. The beach out the front is beautiful. It's also a big deck area there and a bar as well, sun lounges. In the evening, they also sometimes did cultural displays. The men were dressed as warriors. They'd have kind of their axe or club, their face painted, and the women would have their grass skirts and their beautiful grass fans, and they'd be singing, dancing, and they would explain what the songs mean and what the dances mean. It was really, really good, all included as part of your stay. One really good thing they have just added, which they didn't have when we were there, is a pool. I think they finished it late 2024, right next to the huge deck area out on the front beach. It looks fantastic. We are planning to head back to Fiji next year, and originally we weren't thinking of going to Manta Resort because we're taking two little kids. They don't have a kids club, and we weren't quite sure what there would be for them to do because the activities there, they're just far too young to take part in them. Now they have a pool, I'm thinking we actually will stay there, which will be really fun to head back there and see if it's changed. Next to the big deck pool area, as well as the bar, they also had a little snack bar as well. What they did is around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they would open up a pizza bar there. It would only open for an hour. You just buy it by the slice, and it was such a little treat. Most resorts you go go to, you are quite locked in to this is the times you eat and this is the food that's available. The couple of times we were there, that snack bar was well used. Speaking of meal times, everyone eats together up in a big room, which is very high up on a hill. It is a little bit of a trek to get there. It's buffet catering for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Dinner is a 3-course meal as well, which is really good. Always good when dessert is included. Now, to signal when it is meal time, they have some drums and they bang on them to let everyone know, right, it's time to come up and have food. One of the other reasons that we both love Manta is that the staff there were brilliant. Not to say that staff at any of the resorts were bad or anything, everywhere was really good, but at Manta they were just kind of next level. You can just tell when someone is really enjoying the job they do. The guys who took Tom out diving, Tom said they were brilliant. All the staff that we came into contact with, just really happy, really positive, really helpful, just fantastic. Now, Tom and I eloped on Manta Resort, and I'm just going to quickly touch on the logistics and how that worked in case someone out there is interested in doing this sort of wedding. Now, it is not the most luxurious resort. It is perhaps somewhere which, if you were thinking of having a wedding in Fiji, it may not be your first choice. For us personally, we just found that it had really good facilities. It was quite updated and modern compared to other resorts, but it still felt authentically Fijian. So when we were looking at getting married, I did look at a whole heap of resorts out there to see what else other places could offer. And the likes of your Hilton, Intercontinental, Sheraton, really nice resorts, don't get me wrong, but they are a little bit soulless. If you walked into one of their hotel rooms there, you could literally be anywhere in the world. You could be in Melbourne CBD, you could be on a tropical island in Fiji. It just doesn't have that same Fijian feeling. Whereas Manta Island, we both felt it did still feel quite authentically Fijian. Before we went to Fiji, while we were in Australia, I contacted Manta Resorts to try and organise it, see if this was something that they would offer. From what I could see on their website, on their Instagram, etc., there's only one other couple who'd been married there previously. We touched base with them, explained what we wanted to do, and they said, yep, 100% we'll be able to get this organized for you. I talked them through what we wanted, just something very basic. 2 of us on the beach. We would need someone to officiate it, and we were going to organize our own photographer. They said no problem at all. They'd set us up with a little archway on the beach. They could also make a bouquet for me and a small flower for Tom as well. They also said that they would be able to organize a priest to come from another island. Now, Tom and I aren't religious, but in Fiji, we needed a priest to be there in order to make everything legal. They helped us organize that. I think from memory, it might have been about 200 Fiji dollars for this priest to come from another island. The archway, the flowers and everything, I feel like it probably cost about 500 Fiji dollars, which was really reasonable. I had done a bit of research and looked at a whole heap of other resorts just to see what other places were offering, and some of the bigger resorts wanted so much money. As soon as you mention the word wedding, the price just doubles or triples, and we didn't want to be a really big resort either. We wanted it to be intimate, just the 2 of us, very low key. So we had everything organized with Manta Ray. I then did Googling on how to get all the paperwork and make it all legal. I had to contact an office in Nandi and make an appointment and asked them exactly what we needed to bring in order to get our marriage license. I also then contacted a photographer because it was just the 2 of us, we were eloping, we weren't going to have friends and family there. For context, all the Tom's families in Australia, mine are all in the UK. If we got married in either one, someone's going to be annoyed. So by going to Fiji, everyone was equally annoyed. But we did want to make sure we had really nice photographs in order to be able to show everyone. So we did pay for a professional photographer to come up. From memory, I think it was about $1,000. It was a special elopement package that they had. It included a coffee table printed photo book. In addition to that cost, we also had to pay for the photographer to come up on the boat. When we landed in Fiji, we went to the government office in Nandi, gave them all our documents. They checked everything, ticked it all off, and gave us all our paperwork, all ready to be signed by witnesses and the priest. Now, on the day, the staff were really helpful. They got everything set up for us. And what was fun was Tom waited down the beach, I got ready. When I was walking from our beach bar to the back beach where we got married, they actually had a couple of staff dressed in their traditional warrior outfits who walked either side of me, which was really cool. We also had a couple of staff members there who were our witnesses, which was really appreciated. And they quite enjoyed getting dressed up and being part of the ceremony as well, which was fun. So we get married, the priest signs everything off for us, we're all legal, done. He goes back to his island, photographer takes a whole heap of pictures, and then she heads back to the mainland. It was exactly what Tom and I wanted, just very low-key, just the 2 of us, very relaxed. That's a wrap on our Fiji videos for this year. When we head back next year, we're going to a couple of different resorts, so make sure you subscribe to see that. I hope you found these videos useful and got some information out of it. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next one.